Welcome back. Good to have you along. As always, you're watching Ozarks Tonight. I'm David Oliver. We are happy to have Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott as our guest here on the broadcast today. Good to see you, Sheriff.
Good to see you.
Haven't had you here for a while, so I've got a whole lot of different topics I'd like to cover with you. And I think one of the most pressing this year so far has been the announcement of a new jail for Greene County. You've got the land acquired, the design plans are going on. It's going to be out by the airport. Kind of talk about where we are in that process right now.
Sure. So we do have the land. We are working on the design. One of the big things that we're working on the design is to make it as efficient as possible with staff. So being able to run it with less staff than our facility that we have now. So it's been quite a process, but we think we're getting there. You know, as you know, our jail population is increasing pretty much every day. We started out with what we called our new jail in 2000. Built for 452, and now we're at 1,027, and the number fluctuates every day. So it's a big challenge.
Let's talk about the current jail, as you referred to it, the new jail from 2000, before we talk more about what the new jail is going to accomplish. 452 it was built for. You've got 1,027 in there today. What's fueling that? We've talked about it before, we've done stories about it before, but what do you think is the reason that we're seeing this spike in that jail?
Well, there's a lot of things. One, we have very good law enforcement in our area, so we're very proactive on making arrests and bringing people to justice. The problem is we've brought so many that they're kind of backlogged in the system. It's something that we look at, but I mean, the good thing is that we're getting them off the street. We went from a warrant list, so we had up to 18,000 outstanding arrest warrants at one time. Now we're down around the 7,000 mark. So we're doing a lot of good things, a lot of quality control, and but with that comes an increased amount of numbers. And you know, I don't want to say that's a good thing, because it's a bad thing to have that kind of problem. But the good thing is, as our general area, we're very proactive and able to bring people to justice. And
the citizens, the taxpayers, want you all to be proactive and to get those folks off the streets who pose a danger. And obviously that costs money. I know the law enforcement tax was passed to help pay for a new jail. We've got a new judge coming in Greene County. All these things are kind of working in tandem together, along with your efforts from your deputies out in the field. It's obviously a lot to get done out there.
It is. It's, you know, we look at the sheer numbers that we're dealing with, the amount of inmates that we have. It's a big issue. But the one thing that I want to clarify with people that they really don't understand is we're not holding any low-level drug dealers or low-level people in for possession. The majority of those people in are for serious felonies. So we have armed robbers. We have about 40 in for murder. We have first-degree and second-degree assaults, child molesters. All these people are made up that population. This is not your DWI offender and your property crime. The person that steals your car is not hanging out in jail forever. They're already out. And from a law enforcement perspective, we don't like that. But the bottom line is we have to keep the most dangerous ones in. And that's what the judges and the prosecutors are doing.
This new jail facility, how many is that going to hold?
We think about 1,200, between 11 and 1,200. And then we'll probably be looking to outsource some still. Yeah. The good thing is it's going to cost us a lot less to run this new facility. So there's money savings built into that, and we also have a place to expand. We're now, as you know, downtown we're landlocked, and the only way to go on our current footprint is up. Well, when you build a facility up, you have to evacuate everybody underneath. Well, that doesn't work when you have 1,000 inmates below you. There's no place to go.
Do you foresee a day, you've been in law enforcement here in Greene County for a very long time, we were talking about that before we came on the air, do you foresee a day when this is not an issue of we don't have an overcrowding issue here locally?
I don't see that. You know, I'd like to be optimistic and say that, but you know, our crime rate is increasing slightly. It's not huge like some other areas, especially in Missouri. It's not like the bigger cities, but we are increasing. And so with that comes proactive enforcement. follow through by the prosecutor's office and ending up in the judges, I just don't see it going down. We see a lot more people being charged. We're running people through the federal system. So we take cases to the U.S. attorney, and then they get charged, and then they're federal inmates. So same people committing the crimes, well, we charge them in a different court.
Sure. You know, one of the things that your deputies have to deal with now more than ever is the ongoing opioid crisis out there. We got a lot of people with heroin, fentanyl, all kinds of stuff coming in here. People are ODing. We haven't seen the spike recently like we did a few months ago, but it's something else your team has to deal with out there. Where are we with that? Are you seeing any improvements? What do you think?
You know, what we're seeing, we did have a huge spike in heroin overdose death and combination of fentanyl, heroin. We have got some justice with those drug dealers, so we got those off the street that we were dealing with. The problem is heroin is such a addictive drug. It was brought into our area. It was sold very cheap. It lured people in. They marketed it, and once they marketed it, people started buying it, and now we have an addiction problem. So that is very concerning. We always have the opioid issue, and that's nationwide, sweeping. But right now, heroin seems to be our drug that is really causing the most problems, not only criminally, but in the addiction and emergency rooms and deaths.
And I know Greene County is partnering with some other local groups to develop a rapid access treatment center. The idea being that that's going to try to help get some folks help who need the help with those addictions, and maybe try to unclog some of the time of your deputies who have to go out on those kinds of calls. What are your thoughts on that rapid access treatment center?
Well, I think it's going to be a great asset for us. One of the things that we don't have is if someone has a heroin addiction problem like we talked about, where do they go? Well, they got two places to go. One, to the emergency room to get cleared so they can be fit for confinement for the crime that they committed. Now we have another option. We can go to this crisis center. They can immediately start getting some assistance, and hopefully they can hook them up with services to have them not show back up on law enforcement radar again.
So just as we close out the interview here, back on the new jail facility, remind us again what the timeline is on that. When are we hoping that's open?
Well, we're hoping to break ground in the spring of this year. They say 2 years build process. I've not seen projects go on time all the time. But we're hoping for 2 years that we'll be up and ready to move in.
Okay. Sheriff, we appreciate your time. We'll have you back in again maybe this spring, and maybe you can update us on things, but we appreciate your efforts and time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Sheriff Jim Arnott from Greene County. More Ozarks tonight after this quick break.